Hey you guys, Jaren here, and right now I wanted to go over a great tool in modding and programming, which is the concept of conditional statements. So conditional statements, they allow you to refer to variables and decide how your program should ask. It would sort of be like being presented with a choice. So are you in the mood for bacon, ice cream, or a PB&J sandwich? So depending on your answer, you would act differently. You would, go to the appropriate store or the restaurant. And luckily, in programming, we can ask questions like this in our code to make our program adjust to certain situations. So for example, I've written a neat little sample mod that's only going to do something if I pass in the word wall with the main function there, in which case the mod is going to build a wall for us. Alright, so notice if I don't run the mod with that argument, then the wall doesn't get built. Nothing actually happens in that case. Alright, so let's look at the code and I'll explain how this works. So here you see the parameter that is declared along with main, which is going to store the argument that I pass in as a string. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you might want to check out the variables, functions, and functions with parameters concepts. So the first thing we're going to do in this mod is we're going to create a drone, and then here's the actual conditional, which is this if statement right here. It's called an if statement, and right here we have a relational statement. So the if statement is expecting to get either true or false, and this relational statement here, or relational operator I should say, this is going to result in true or false. So the if statement is expecting true or false, and then this statement, or this relational operator, is going to result in either true or false. So this basically this relational operator is a way to ask a question in programming. You're saying, is the argument equal to the word wall, true or false? So if it's true, then go ahead and run all of this code that's in between these brackets. Otherwise, skip it altogether. Simple as that. Now, there's a couple other things to discuss on the topic of this if statement. So if you click on this star, you'll see that there's some options here which we can add to our conditional statement. And this one is what's called an else clause. So if we add this else clause here, you could probably guess what this does, and you can see it changes the statement. So in this case, if the argument is not equal to wall, then the else part occurs. Okay, so we could add a message there that just says maybe no arguments applied if that's the case. Cool. Now, there's the else if clause as well, which allows you to tack on another question. So let's say we want to give the option to make a monster battle with this mod. We can add an else if statement that says if the argument is not equal or is equal to monster battle, let's say, then do all this. Okay, so a super important thing to realize too, and not realizing this is a really common misconception, is that only one of these cases is going to execute. So the program is going to ask the first question, and if it's not true, if it is true, it'll run this. If it's not true, then it's going to ask this next question, and if if that is true, then it'll go ahead and run this. Otherwise, it's going to go to the last else clause, and that's what's going to happen if all else fails. Alright, so let's go ahead and just test this mod out with all the different cases. We'll run it with just gibberish. Alright, sweet. And then we'll run it with nothing. Okay, and then now let's try it with wall. Cool, makes a wall. And then let's try it with the monster battle. Alright, excellent. So to summarize, conditionals allow us to guide the way our program runs by asking true or false questions. It's a really great tool that works along with variables to make your program adjust to different situations. Alright, thanks for watching, guys.